to talk about why $10 million companies are not built on $10 tasks. Time is the most important resource that we have. Are you staying in your genius zone? Are you doing the right activities? So if you're still doing everything in your company yourself, thinking that you're saving money or actually that you're not spending any money because it's free, this actually ends up costing you big time. Welcome to the show Built with VAs. I'm your host Valentina Brega, and on this show we talk about how to build our companies by leveraging other people's time, skills, and talent. Whether you're hiring international virtual assistants or if you have a local team, the information on this show will be very beneficial and helpful. I can't wait to dive into today's topic, and we're going to talk about why $10 million companies are not built on $10 tasks. So let's get right into that. I know you heard that before, that you can always make more money, but you can't get more time back. Time is the most important resource that we have. So the way you spend your time in your company is actually going to dictate how successful your company is. Are you staying in your genius zone? Are you doing the right activities? And if not, then maybe how do you figure out at what point it makes sense to delegate? So if you're still doing everything in your company yourself, thinking that you're saving money or actually that you're not spending any money because it's free, you're doing this yourself, right? This actually ends up costing you big time. $10 million companies were not built on $10 tasks. So look around your business and audit your activities. Think about what are you doing that's sabotaging your growth and what you should be doing that you simply don't have time for it. Yes, you need to hire people, you need to delegate to people, but hiring people the wrong way will not contribute to your bottom line. It will just increase your expenses. So today we're going to talk about what's taking most of your time, what are some of the things that need to be off your plate and who should do them and what you should focus on. So here's an important question for you. Do you know your productivity rate? What in the world is that? Do you know your productivity rate? In other words, do you know at what price point it makes no sense for you to handle certain tasks and they need to be handled by someone else? If you don't know that, there's a simple formula how to get to that. Let's get to the formula. So first things first is look at your annual income in your business. How much money does your business make in gross revenue? And then you divide that by 2,000. Why 2,000? Because there are approximately 2,000 working hours per year. Well, 2080 to be exact, but just to round it up, 2,000. And yes, I know entrepreneurs don't just work 2,000 hours per year. They work a lot more. Sometimes they work 24/7. It feels like they work 24/7 in their business, right? But just for the sake of this exercise, let's take a look at that. If you were to work 2,000 hours a year, which is a normal amount of hours, divide the annual income by this 2,000. This is how much your time is worth. This is how much you make per hour. Now, of course, you have expenses, this is not net. This is how much the business makes per hour. So then the next part is, what if somebody could do the work for 25% of your time worth? If they can, then you should delegate it. Why 25%? Well, first of all, because your business has expenses. We're taking the gross revenue. We're not taking the net revenue. Second of all, this is a safe margins for you to operate with. If you delegate everything that's under your time worth, you end up losing money because your business has expenses because of other important factors, because you don't have any leeway here with that number. So 25%, I think it's a very good margin for you to feel comfortable that you can let go of that task. The productivity rate is calculated as follows again. You take the annual business income divided by 2,000 and then divided by 4. So we look at 25%. That is the productivity rate per hour. Anything that's less than that amount should be done by someone else. So let me give you an example. Let's say your business generates $120,000 per year. Your time worth is calculated as follows. It's 120,000 divided by 2,000, that's $60 per hour. Then the productivity rate is $60 per hour divided by 4, that's $15 per hour. So if any task can be done by someone else for $15 or less, it should not be on your plate. And the third step you have to do here is audit your activities. This is actually something I did recently, and I do this every quarter when I decide what else to delegate or who else should be handling certain responsibilities. So this is what you do. You write down absolutely everything you've been doing for the past month. Having an organized calendar actually helps. Everything that I do, it has to be on the calendar. So I just looked at the calendar for the past month and I put everything. Processing payroll, training people, hiring people, having the podcast, researching episodes for the podcast, setting up the studio, everything. Everything has to be written down. And then when you have all your activities, you want to audit each activity. So you want to have a system in place. You either put a system from 1 to 3, or you put a $sign, $2 signs, $3, like the Google reviews when you review restaurants. Have a system in place on determining how important each activity is in terms of generating revenue. So if it's generating a lot of revenue, you can put a $4 sign. If it's not generating revenue, you can put a $1 sign. Or you can color code it, or have a system of 1, 2, 3. Again, where 1 is top priority, like it's something that's bringing you most money. 3 is not as important because it's not bringing you as much money. For example, what is not bringing as much money is managing my email or managing my calendar. Yeah, it's important to reply to messages, but I get a lot of newsletters. I get a lot of messages that take a lot of my time, but don't necessarily increase my productivity or contribute to my bottom line. As opposed to me even coming here in front of you and sharing this information, this has a higher chance of converting better for my business rather than checking my email. So find a system that works for you and then take a step back and look at this list. And I guarantee you that you will find tasks that are draining your energy, that are keeping you busy, but they're not productive. And you know how I got to this realization is when somebody asked me one day, I actually told an entrepreneur, I said, man, it's been a busy week. I've been doing so much. And he said, oh, what are you working on right now? And I just froze. I sat down and I was thinking, what am I working on right now? What am I doing right now? Let's see. I did some copywriting. I wrote some emails, right? I worked on my newsletter. I recorded some episodes. I had to research. I had to look on some social media accounts and get inspiration for different, what to film, just kind of things like that. And then he looked at me and was like, you know what I'm about to say, right? And I was like, yep, that should not be on my plate. He asked me, what do you have to do? What is your genius zone? What do you have to work on? And I said, well, that would be networking, working on people, working on visibility, bringing value, working on establishing myself as the expert in the area, in this area. And he said, yeah. And none of the things that you did contribute to that. I mean, they can, but they can be done by someone else. The question is, was that necessary to be on my list? And even I do it. And I have a team. I have a team of amazing virtual assistants. They all have their own roles. They have their responsibilities. They help me a lot. And even so, I still have things on my list that keep me busy and not productive. So it really helps doing this exercise every quarter, every so often, just to get this clarity, because it's so easy to get into the next shiny object. Oh, I'll do it faster. I'll do it. It's just a one-time thing. And then we just don't even realize how it's taken most of our energy away. So after you look at your list, try to understand who on your team has the capacity and the willingness to take on additional responsibilities. And of course, they have to be willing, because if they don't want to do it, it's not going to be productive. But most people, especially if they work on an hourly rate, they want to get more hours because that means more income for them. Or maybe that means a raise. If you increase the responsibilities, consider giving them a raise, or, just make it fair. Make sure it's fair. The important thing is, once you determine that this task is less than your productivity rate, you are literally losing money by doing this and by not focusing on things that are above your productivity rate. Things that could bring you $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, things that could, expand your business, come up with new ideas, implement new ideas, work on whatever it is that you need to work on, because you're so stuck in the little things. I hope you got good clarity about this. And now a lot of people say, well, my business doesn't generate that much money. So let's say even in this example, our productivity rate came up to what, $15 an hour? You say, I can't really hire people in the US for $15 an hour and my business is not generating that much money. Well, consider hiring virtual assistants. You get an amazing pool of talented people from around the world where they could work for a fraction of a cost of what it would cost you to pay here in the States, because let's be honest, I live in the States. I know the prices here are incredibly high and everything is so expensive to live in this country, but it's not the same in every part of the world. So it might make a lot more sense for your business, and you're impacting positively somebody from a different country by giving them this opportunity to serve you. So consider working with virtual assistants. And if you don't know where to start, I'm going to leave the link in the description how you can get in touch with us so we can have a chat, we can have a strategy call, and we can look at your productivity rate together and see what talent you need to bring on board that will help you scale your business. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found that useful. Let me know in the comments what exactly shocked you or surprised you, or what's the next step you're going to take from here. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.